It's the Deep Slant 101 presented by Xfinity. Our guest this week, safety Jaleel Addae. Jaleel, welcome into the studio. Nice to have you.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Appreciate you having me.
I enjoy having you. I've heard a lot of nicknames for you. I call you Jaleel. You've been called Leal. I also heard the other day someone call you Hitman, which is your social media handle. So how'd you get that nickname?
It's actually funny. I actually got it from the student section at my college. I think after my sophomore year, it was actually a guy in my class by the name of Anthony Lazaro. I remember his name, and he actually made a Hitman sign and had the student section actually like getting it going and stuff. So ever since then, I kind of ran with it and kind of fit my style of play. So I just kept trucking with it.
He called you Hitman just who was it?
Anthony. He was actually in one of my college classes. He called me Hitman. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a sign and bring it in the student section. And it just kind of was a trickle effect. It just kind of carried over.
I like it. I like Hitman a lot. Now you've got it on all your social media platforms. So.
Everywhere.
And your teammates are calling you that too. What have you thought about your first season here with the Texans? It seems like you just fit in so nicely in that backfield in the secondary. You're making plays out there. What was the transition like coming from the Chargers to here for you?
It was a smooth transition, honestly. You know, the coaches helped me get acclimated with the playbook early. Some of the vets that have been around, and it's just the camaraderie that this team has is special. You see a lot of guys hang outside the locker room, and that makes things good. Because when you have a relationship with guys outside the locker room, it's that much easier to communicate. You know who you're communicating with, and that's the key. I think just the friendship that we have and the bond that we have is special here.
Is that unusual from locker room to have that sort of chemistry with your teammates? I'm sure it's different everywhere you go,
Right.
but how does it compare to where you've played in the past?
Well, I played in the past. Well, I was with the Chargers for 6 years, and obviously I was there for so long, so that was another brotherhood that I had. But I've heard around that it's not like that everywhere. So coming in here, I came in with just an open heart, just ready to meet people and see, different personalities and find out where guys are from and whatnot, and I just clicked.
You had some familiarity with the coaching staff too, because John Pagano was the defensive coordinator for the Chargers, and then D'Anton Lynn was also with the Chargers, when his dad was
Bobby
the head coach.
King.
And Bobby King.
Yeah.
So how much did it help having some coaches that were familiar with you? You kind of knew what their style was.
Right.
Did that sort of lend you to coming here more so than anywhere else?
Honestly, it did. Just seeing familiar faces here and knowing their coaching style and what they bring to the table. And obviously, if they're on the staff, then they're like others. So I knew coming in and playing for those guys or being around them, the coaches that were working with them would be similar and make it an easy transition for me.
You do a lot of things as a safety. I think your versatility is something that we sort of heard about a lot in the offseason. You cover running backs, you cover tight ends, you play safety. What do you like about playing in this particular defense?
That's the same exact thing. They allow me to do a lot. Just like you said, I cover running backs, I cover tight ends, I blitz, and I play the high safety. So just being able to show my versatility. And when you're out there on the field and you get to do different things like that, the defense never has to beat on exactly what you're doing and what the scheme we're running. So I think bringing that to the table has helped a lot.
In London, you got your interception towards the end of the game against Gardner Minshew. How cool was it to play in London, get the pick, and then head into the bye with such a big play like that?
That was such a blessing. That was my second time in London, my first pick of the season, and then being able to do it.
Yeah, your first as a Texan, that's right.
First as a Texan, first this season, to be able to do it in foreign soil was awesome. That's a memory I'll forever be able to keep. My family was there, they got to witness it, and it was electrifying, so it was an awesome feeling.
I like to ask players what they do with the ball. Did you get to keep it?
Oh, I kept it.
You did?
I kept
it.
Yeah, that's going in a case.
Nice. This Sunday, you get to play Lamar Jackson, and you're one of the few players on this team that have seen him before. Chargers beat the Ravens last year in the playoffs. What do you remember about facing him last year? He was a rookie, obviously, last year. What do you remember about facing him last year, and from watching him on film this year, where has he changed the most?
We faced him twice last year, but last year he was just as electrifying. But I just feel like this year he seems a lot more comfortable. Not that he wasn't last year, but this year he just feels more comfortable. He's running, he's passing, he's orchestrating the offense, and I feel like the offense is gaining their juice from him. And just like rookies, they take their rookie curves and ups and downs last year, but this year he's full head of steam, and it's going to be a tough task for us.
A lot of the players talk about how difficult it is to prepare for an offense like that. They're probably the most complex to prepare for. Do you think that's the case? You were prepared for a lot of offenses in your time.
Right. It's like playing the Army, Navy, Georgia Tech, or college. It's an offense that you don't see week in and week out. And it's a lot of you have to be very sound, you have to be disciplined, because one wrong move or one guy out of this gap or one guy not doing their job, it could be a big play.
All right, so we've got in the defense, we've got the Lunch Pail Crew, which are the interior defensive linemen. Then you got the Rock Boys. And I asked one of the players, I want to say it was Brennan Scarlett or one of the linebackers, about the DBs. I'm like, what's the DBs group? Do you guys have a group name? Do you guys?
We don't.
You guys
we
have
don't.
a lot of handshakes and stuff.
We got a lot of handshakes. You got a lot of dances.
A lot of handshakes and dances.
I think we got to get a nickname soon.
I think you do too.
Yeah, it's kind of on the second half. We got to get a nickname.
You've got a lot of new players now in the secondary, a lot of new corners added. What do you think about the chemistry there? It's obviously something that you guys work on all offseason, but now with new players, how does that sort of work every time a new guy joins the team?
Just get them acclimated as fast as possible. You know, the coaches do a good job of catching guys up on the playbook, and we have to do a good job of communicating with them, catching them up on the playbook, and allowing them to feel like one, you know, feel like us when they come in. You know, it's always difficult when you come in from a new team, so you got to make guys as comfortable as possible and allow them to enjoy the brotherhood.
How about for yourself? You were undrafted, and here you are playing in the league for a number of years at such a high level. When you sort of look back at your career, is there anything that you kind of wish you knew early on?
Not really. I think I learned from some good veterans, you know, coming in early with the Chargers with Eric Weddle, being around Phillip Rivers, Dwight Freeney, those guys since I've been there, Brandon Flowers. So I think everything happens for a reason, and I've learned, you know, every year, and I'm continuing to get wiser as I go. Next year onto my 8th year, but I think that being undrafted and coming in the way I did, it makes me play the game the way I play with the chip and always being hungry and never satisfied or complacent.
Yeah, you and Tashawn Gibson both coming sort of from that similar background. What was it like going back to LA and playing the Chargers, your former team? A lot of players have to wait a number of years before they face their former team. For you, you didn't have to wait that long, but was it awkward? Was it strange? You know, what were your emotions about it?
There's a lot of emotions, honestly. I was excited, but it was awkward going to the visitor locker room. Then got out there and got to see a lot of the people that I've played with for such a long time and built relationships with. But once that ball snapped, it was no more friendships.
Yeah.
I was juiced. I was excited. I might have been a little bit too carried away at sometimes, but I mean, that's just the way I play. And, you know, playing my former team, I was going to bring a little bit extra out of me.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that juice because I think Phillip Rivers was mic'd up during the game. And he singled you out during one of the plays. He said, he's calling out a lot of things. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
That's typical Philly, talks a lot of junk. But that's my guy, though. That's my guy.
A lot of players really enjoyed facing him. They said that he's probably
sure.
one of the smartest quarterbacks
And
out
he's a
there.
big competitor.
All right, I got to ask you something. This is kind of off the beaten path, but we do this thing called B-Scar TV, and one of the questions that he asked was, name a show that you're embarrassed to admit you watched. And I was shocked when you said The Bachelor. Not because it's a bad show, because I watched The Bachelor too, but because the former Bachelor, Colton Underwood, was one of your really good friends, and that's why you watched it.
Right.
So you watched that entire season, and that's your good former teammate and your friend. What were your thoughts when you saw him?
I'm happy for him. He's doing his thing. He's made a mark for himself. He always told us that he wanted to get into modeling or TV once he got done playing ball, you know, and he was a former linebacker for us, and we always joked with him and said that he would do a good job doing it, and to see him on the big screen doing it and getting so much gigs and off spins from it, man, it's awesome to see.
Because first he was like a contestant, and then he was such a fan favorite, they brought him back as The Bachelor. And I know, like everyone talk, even if you don't watch the show, you've heard the phrase, the most dramatic season yet.
Right.
I really thought that was the most dramatic season yet, because he broke up with everybody, and then went after the girl that broke up with him.
And they're happy together.
And they're happy together. So you're watching that, were you like, what are you thinking, this is typical Colton, or?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know if it was scripted. I didn't know how it went, you know. So I didn't know if he was just going along with it or that was just a build-up drama. And yeah, I texted him. I gave him some crap every now and then. He just hit me back laughing, but I'm happy for him. It was awesome to, you know, see somebody that you know gain that stardom.
All right, how about for yourself? You're not really new to Houston anymore. You've been here for a little while. What have you thought about the city? Have you been around it much? What have you thought about the people and the fans here?
It's awesome. It's a football state. Obviously, the state of Texas is a football state, and they love the Texans here. It's been awesome. I'm living here and living kind of in the Pearland area out there, and having my family with me and my son being raised out here around a culture like this, and good foods, good eats.
You're gonna need to get your son a little baby cowboy boots and a little cowboy hat.
I know. I gotta get him. I gotta get him swagged up, Texas style.
Some cowboy swag. Yeah, that's coming up. The rodeo's coming up. All right, good stuff. Wish you best of luck for the rest of the season.
All right, thank you.